Everyone, welcome to the Spiceworks session. Thanks for showing up. Thought I had a decent turnout. As you said, my name's Ben, and I work for a local medical billing firm here in town. We're a pretty small organization. We have about 60 employees or so, and just a couple IT folks. So, we're always looking for good solutions like this, and we actually, a couple of years ago, it was over 3 years ago actually, about 3 years ago, we were looking to replace an aging ticketing system that we had built. It was a homegrown system that we had programmed ourselves. Several of us have been involved in that over a couple of years, and we'd outgrown it. It wasn't doing what we needed to do. We didn't want to redo it, so we were looking around and came across Spiceworks. And this was, it was still obviously in development. It's changed a lot since then, but at the time we thought, might as well give it a try. It's a free program. And it turned out to be a really valuable resource for us, and in more ways than just a help desk. In a lot of other ways as well. We continue to use it now for over 3 years. So we, I wanted to, kind of come today and share, some of what we've used and what Spiceworks can do for your network, for your organization, and hopefully, some of you will be able to take that back and bring some value to your jobs. And actually, I'm hoping at the end of the presentation today, you'll actually be able to have something you can go back today and actually give a try right away. So with that, we'll go ahead and jump right in here. Before I get started, I think we have a couple in the audience. How many of you have never used Spiceworks? Anybody? Okay, a few, okay. And I know, how many of you have used it but for like less than a year? Okay. Anybody for longer than a year? All right, cool, we have some long-term users here, so that's good. For those of you who have been using it, you want to just share with the group what are your a favorite feature of yours that Spiceworks does, or something that Spiceworks does for you like.
I'll speak to that.
All right.
I like the hardware inventory and the software inventory is what I usually use it for. It's been invaluable for both. Recently, merging companies, and they needed to know, they're giving us all new PCs, needed to know what we had. I put together a inventory for them in detail, and ended up it saved me hundreds of hours if I'd have had to go around individually and do it the old way. So
cool. Thanks. Anybody else want to share? I got more shirts.
Sure. I like we use it for the alerting system for systems being down. It pretty much reports, I don't know if you guys deal with like weather bug. We always have people who want to put weather bug on their PCs, and then they bitch about being slow. Just saying. It's really nice because it'll alert you instantly. Well, it'll alert you as soon as it scans that system again, let me say that. Which is a nice feature. I like it. Thanks.
Thanks.
So we use it for help desk and inventory. Our main purpose was for the help desk, and I like it so we can keep track of, nothing was being documented before, what solutions, how to fix stuff we can bring up, a history of how we fix stuff, and it saves some time in that aspect.
Great. Anybody else?
Yeah. One thing I just recently got to play with was using it with Macs. I've had those other solutions that wouldn't have worked on a Mac. It was really cool to say, oh my God, so I can inventory Macs too. And so I do a lot of the inventory, and then the software piece too, knowing what's on it. I mean, that's really handy.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the reporting, it's cool. It's cool.
Awesome.
So yeah.
Thanks for sharing, guys. Well, yeah, all of those features are definitely part of Spiceworks, and they do a really good job of it. The beta for Spiceworks actually was launched in 2006, so it's been a little over 6 years now. And when we started about 3 years ago, there was, I'm not sure how far below 1 million users they were, because probably about a year into it, we hit 1 million, they hit 1 million users, and we were part of that first million group. Anybody want to guess, how many users are using Spiceworks today?
3 years.
Close, 2.5. 2.5 million users, so about 1 in 3 of the world's small and medium business IT pros out there in the developed world are using Spiceworks in some way or another. and they're getting about 2,000 more joining every day, which is really impressive. They've had, atmospheric levels of growth ever since they started. In fact, when they first started, when they released the beta in 2006, how many days do you think it took before the application was being used in every country in the world? Want to guess how many days?
5.
More than that. But here's for guessing. What's that?
2 weeks?
Close. 60
30
days. 60 days. So, within 60 days it was being used in every country in the world, which is pretty impressive. It just goes to show how much value people are finding in the application. So let's get into talking about what exactly Spiceworks is here. When they first started with this, they said, okay, what would happen if we created an application that could do inventorying your devices, monitoring devices, create a help desk, and tools that you can actually use in your network. Come on in. Actually use in your network and bring value to your organization with a community of your peers in a forum type environment and other ways. What would happen? They created essentially the first social networking business app for IT, which is what Spiceworks really is. It combines all of these people that are your peers all over the world that can help you with the experience that they have in different areas directly in the line of your daily activity, giving you the tools to have you using the app in your daily activity to help you with your job. Now the foundation of Spiceworks is actually the application itself. It has a lot of bells and whistles, and it is a free program, as I mentioned. But all the bells and whistles in the world, as we all know, don't matter if the thing doesn't actually work and work easily without getting in your way. And Spiceworks certainly does do that. So some of the things that it has: a network inventory. Go out and scan your network, bring in all kinds of information about all your devices. It has network monitoring, as someone mentioned, where you can monitor all kinds of information about those devices and other pieces and parts of your network to alert you when things change. Help desk and ticketing system. We're going to cover all these things a little more in depth here in a few minutes. Help desk and ticketing system, which is really handy for those of you who either don't have one now or are looking for something a little more advanced than what you have. It has a whole configuration and management section. So it's not just a cookie cutter application. You can actually go in there and make changes, quite a bit to quite a few parts of the application to sort of tailor it to your environment and make it work for you. And in fact, there's actually plugins that people in the community have built and vendors have built to work with the application to change certain aspects of it that Spiceworks maybe hasn't gotten around to changing yet. People have asked for. And it's a product info and purchasing section, which basically has information about all the major IT products that are out there, kind of like the database that CDW would have. It's got like over 1 million products that you can pull up and view reviews for that other people have posted information on. And you can use the purchasing section to put all the purchasing you do into that, so you can manage it better. So you're not having to manage it like through your email, that sort of thing. So I'll cover that in a little bit here. They just recently, in the last year or so, most recent major version put in the knowledge base, which is a really cool feature, and I've used quite a bit within our organization. And then it's got some managed service provider functions as far as keeping track of how much, if you want to charge a certain dollar to a dollar hourly rate to a certain tech, you can keep track of their hours assigned to certain tickets, how much time has been spent on tickets, that kind of thing. There's some different features that are built into it for that. And then there's the IT pro and vendor community that we keep talking about, which is really a big part of what makes Spiceworks what it is and what creates the buzz around it. So let's jump into some of the details about some of these different aspects. So the inventory and monitoring section. The way this works basically is you go in and you tell Spiceworks, okay, I want you to scan my network. You can tell it, I want you to scan this group of IP addresses. If you just want to scan maybe your DHCP devices, but not your servers, for example, or something, you can do that. Or you can just say, these individual devices, just scan these. Or you can just tell it, scan your whole network, whatever. And it will scan all those devices. It uses standard protocols, WMI, SNMP, SSH, that kind of stuff, to pull in that information. It does need to have, if those devices require authentication to log into them, like through a web interface or through a command line interface, that sort of thing, it does need to have those credentials set up within Spiceworks. But I definitely want to stress the fact that this is a locally installed application. It's not a cloud-based application. So you don't have to have it connected to the internet. So if you're concerned about what's going on with that data, if it's bringing in all the information about our network, basically, it contains a little database file on whatever machine you install it on, and you can have it disconnected from the internet and it'll still function normally. So hopefully that calms any concerns about that. And then what it does is it takes all that data and it categorizes your devices into different categories based on certain aspects of that. So you'll have the major categories like laptops, desktops, servers, printers, network devices, that kind of thing. So what this creates basically is within probably half an hour, you can install this app, have it scan your whole network, and then instantly have a list of all your printers and all the information about every single one of those, which includes, for printers, for example, would include all your toner levels, in a lot of cases, fuser maintenance kit percentages, waste toner percentages, all that kind of stuff that you would normally have to go either look at the printer or pull up its management interface to see. You can see that within Spiceworks, and you can do things based on what that activity says. You can create alerts with it, that sort of thing, and monitor it. And then, in addition to that, and you can set that scanning up to happen as often as you like. Realistically, we only do it about once a day. But if you have a smaller network, you can do it more often than that. Just depends on your load, that kind of thing. But in addition to that sort of passive monitoring, we also have some active monitoring within the app itself. So if you have a device, you can pull it up and it brings up a little dialog box in your browser. You can do a trace route, ping, NS lookup, wake on LAN, any of those kind of functions that you see listed there. And you can pull up even the running processes on a device and see, okay, if someone calls you and their machine's out of control and it's the antivirus or something, you can pop open this window, pull up the running processes, and kill that right from the browser. Which is valuable if let's say you're working on another part of your network and maybe you have a third-party app on your main computer that will do that for you, but you don't have it available to you right now. You can pull up the web browser and do that there. Or maybe you're on a Linux machine or a Mac machine and you don't know the command to do a ping or a trace route. You can pull that up and do it from within the browser. So those can be helpful functions in a lot of different areas. Now, beyond the devices, some of the other things that Spiceworks can help you track and help you keep up with are software, which is a big deal. A lot of things with software in terms of licenses and tracking hotfixes. If anybody use volume licensing in here? Okay, one. For those of you who use volume licensing or just need to track, licensing in some other way, it will pull up, all the license information, including the product key in most cases, of all your software, and have it listed in a database list, kind of like what you see here. So, like, I could click on Acrobat.com, for example. That's probably a bad example, but if I wanted to, I could click on Adobe Acrobat, a particular version of Adobe Acrobat, and it'll pull up a list of all the computers that is installed on throughout the entire organization. And then, more importantly, you can actually click on, here's all the computers that it's not installed on, and it'll show you a list of all the computers that it's not installed on. And that can be helpful if you're trying to deploy an application and you're not sure how many computers you've installed on or where it's at. You can just instantly see that as soon as you scan your network. So that's really helpful, and it also shows you the version number of each installation. So if you're wondering how many of them are up to the most current version, bam, there you go. And again, you can set this to scan every morning, so when you come in, you've got fresh data to look at, and you don't even have to think about it. It's right there. So, very valuable information. You can integrate Spiceworks with Active Directory, so you can pull in all your users' contact information, email addresses, phone numbers, whatever you've got in AD, and use that to interact with users and with tickets in the system. And more recently, they've added the ability to monitor cloud services and detect cloud services within your organization. So those of you that are starting to use some cloud services, we have recently started using LastPass in the last year across the whole organization. And of course, that's hosted in the cloud. And so it detected that and shows us what all machines that's installed on. And in some cases, it can actually let you manage your cloud accounts from within Spiceworks as well. So the first screen that you will see when you install Spiceworks and load it up is going to be your dashboard. That's what we're looking at here. And this is kind of like your main screen. This is the screen that I have up every day, all day on my computer at the office. Basically, it's just, it would be normally a blank page, and you can put all kinds of like widgets and plugins on it to monitor different aspects of what the data that you've collected through Spiceworks. And this can be, about your devices, about your software, or about, the tickets that we're going to talk about in a minute with the help desk. They have, the example they have here in that pie chart there, they're showing us how many clients have antivirus up to date and how many of them are not up to date or don't have it at all, that kind of thing. You can have a section that deals with just your purchasing, so you can monitor, what are we doing with purchasing, how many things are, coming in the process, what's been bought recently. You can have apps that monitor how many open tickets you have. You can have like a pie chart or a bar chart that just shows you here's how many open tickets we have across all these different help desk technicians, and here's how they're broken out. Or you can look at maybe just a list of all your open tickets and see here's all my open tickets, or unassigned tickets, for example. I keep unassigned tickets on mine all the time, so I can keep track of if there's something that needs to be assigned out to somebody, that sort of thing. So there's a lot of valuable ones that are built into the app. There's also ones, widgets and stuff that you can install from the community. The community users, just like you and I, have developed and published out there for everyone to use. And there's some vendor ones as well. I know Intel vPro has one for power management, and I think Eaton has one for UPS management, that kind of stuff. So there's a few different ones like that out there for those of you that have devices that would apply. Now the help desk is probably one of the bigger things that draw people to Spiceworks, because they're looking for a way to manage their workload day to day. And this is a big thing that helps Spiceworks has provided from the very beginning, and it's gotten better and better every year, every release that they put out. But basically, it's a lot of it is basically what you would expect. Of course, they've got the normal fields for a ticket. You can have a due date on it, have priority, low, medium, high. You can have all kinds of data is built in, to the ticket itself in terms of categorizing it by the type of ticket that it is, software, hardware related, that kind of stuff. But you can also add custom fields to that as well. In the advanced settings of the application, you can go in and add a custom list of things that you want to track for each ticket if you want. And you can make those required. You can make it so that when users submit a ticket, they have to include this particular data, that sort of thing. So you can, what you're looking at here, basically, this is the user portal here, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. This section behind it here is what you would be if you're looking at the detail of a ticket, basically. So you can type into the box there a comment about the ticket. And of course, that's going to be, as soon as you put that in there, the user who submitted it is going to be notified of that. Anyone who's CC'd on the ticket, you can have multiple people or groups CC'd on tickets, and they'll get notified of that comment. You can also have an admin note if you want to, that only like you and your help desk technicians or admins will see within Spiceworks, but the users won't necessarily see those notes. You can add purchasing directly through tickets in addition to the purchasing section. So if you have a ticket that's requiring you to purchase something, you can add that in here and track it, which provides feedback to the users as well. And you can also add time to tickets, like I mentioned earlier. Every time you work on a ticket, you can add how much time you spent on it, so you can keep track of how much effort has been spent on a particular issue, that kind of thing. You can also associate devices with tickets. So you can do that with users as well. You can associate a particular computer, laptop, printer, whatever, with a user, so that you can kind of combine all of those elements. You've got the tickets that the users are creating, you've got their devices, and you can have that all linked together, so you can keep track of how issues are connected to each other, that sort of thing, when things come up. How many tickets has this user created? How many tickets have been created about this particular device? When you pull up that device, you'll see all the tickets that are attached to that device, and that can be helpful if you have a particular problem area.
Do you track everything on those, like your help desk, like calls and stuff? Do you put, if someone calls, saying my password changed, do you put that kind of stuff in too?
Me personally, I put everything except the things that are going to take me 5 seconds, like that. Okay. I mean, if it's something that quick, I usually will just take care of it. But if it's anything that's going to take me any amount of time, I try to track it all within there, so that I can have a good history of what I've been working on throughout the week. What I use it for. So.
We have our help desk person. She just loves her pad of paper.
Oh yeah.
I've tried to take it away, but, this is a call and writes it down, and so I'm just trying to decide, it's one of those things, it's like a pack of cigarettes, if it's sitting there, you're gonna grab one.
Yeah.
If she's got her pad of paper, she's gonna record, I'm trying to figure out if I can just migrate the whole thing over to this.
Yeah, it definitely is the way to go, and if you can get them to see the value in keeping all of that data, I mean, you're essentially creating, with the help desk here, you're essentially creating a knowledge base within your organization of things that come up, over time, and you can go back and say, I know we had this problem before, let's go back and look at what the solution was for that, what comments we put on that ticket, and it does have search functionality throughout the app, and it does a great job with that. So, if you can start to show them the value that there is in having that history, good question. That might get them on board a little more. Like a lot of help desks, you can manage this through email, so you can have an email account connected to the help desk that users just send an email to when it creates a ticket. And then they get email responses with a link in the email that they can click to go back out and view the ticket or respond to it. Actually, they can just reply to the email if they want to respond to it. They can attach things and they'll get attached to the ticket. All of that is built in. So it really is, and I'm not even, there's more things that I'm not even touching on here with the help desk because I don't have enough time here today to go super in depth with this. But it is a very valuable resource, especially in our organization. We found it very valuable. The user portal is basically a little web page that they let you create. You can brand it with your company logo and colors, that sort of thing, that you can then provide to your user base, through your company intranet, or if you don't have one, you can even use it, kind of as your company intranet. You can create multiple tabs within it, and it's just HTML based, so you can program in your own pages and have it say whatever you want, information based, or you can put iframes in it and display other things if you want. So it can be a very valuable resource for users, especially with power users who submit a lot of tickets. They can go out here and view all their open tickets, click on a ticket, see the details, respond to it through the portal. They can see closed tickets if they need to. If they have an issue come back up, they can reopen a ticket through the portal without having to call you. So a lot of cool things there. The knowledge base. What about the knowledge base for a minute? This is a cool feature that's been highly requested by a lot of users of Spiceworks, and like I said, they just recently put that in, I think, in the most recent major version. Basically, it's just like what you would think of a knowledge base. It's just you create, how-to articles or maybe articles about a specific workaround that you've had to create for a piece of software or a device. And then you can share those with just your team, or you can actually share them with the whole Spiceworks community at large, and it helps to increase the sharing among the community and help others. Well, I've gone out and just looked at some of the knowledge base articles that are out there just for fun, and they're really helpful. And there's some really cool stuff out there that people shared, and it's pretty neat. So, who wants to guess how many knowledge base articles there are shared publicly at this point in Spiceworks?
5 million.
Wow, way high, but good guess. 3,500. There's 3,500 shared knowledge base articles in there now. So at the time I took this screenshot, there was 2,695, and it's increased from that quite a bit. So a lot of stuff out there. This is another cool thing about this is if you have knowledge base, or if you have tasks within your organization that are repetitive, things that come up all the time. Let's say, for example, people move to a new computer occasionally, or go to another part of the company and use another computer, and they need their email set up on that computer. How many of you ever had that come up? You can have a knowledge base article, of course, that shows them, walks them through the screenshots of how to set up their email profile on that computer. But one of the cool things, if you have them using the user portal from the help desk, if they're typing in the title of a ticket that Spiceworks can identify matches something, a knowledge base article that you have like that, like I need my email set up, it'll suggest that to them as an option. They can click on it, pull up the knowledge base article, walk through it themselves if they want to, and maybe not even have to call you or create that ticket. So they're doing a lot of innovative things like that that are helping you with your daily workflow and actually helping users help themselves in some ways, in some cases. So, like I said, they have a purchasing section, and so especially for those of you who might do a lot of purchasing, or if you have an IT department where you're in charge of managing all your toner throughout the whole company and all that kind of stuff and making those purchases. Instead of trying to manage that through your email, you have the option of putting all of that information into Spiceworks, which, there's a couple of things that can be valuable about doing this. First of all, if you're using a lot of different vendors, multiple different vendors, you have it all in one place where you're keeping a history of all your purchases. You can see, when you purchased the item, how much you paid for the item, what department it was purchased for. If it's attached to a ticket, you can go back to that ticket and view the details of what was going on with that particular purchase, instead of trying to find the string of emails where people were asking for this or that, and somebody didn't respond until 3 weeks later, and you're sticking through that for half an hour trying to find that history. The more you use this over a period of time, you'll have that history built in. And you can manage the purchasing process all the way through, so you can mark it as purchased, or you can have an approval process within the app. So if you have help desk technicians that request that things be purchased, but then you have an administrator who is the one that approves it, the help desk technicians can put that in, and the administrator can say, yep, that's okay, approved. Then they can go ahead and purchase it from the vendor and go through that process, and then they can mark on here when it was delivered and all of that. So that helps you keep track of all that. And then the other thing that's cool within the app as well is it just added a function where you can request a quote as well. So instead of having to contact multiple vendors, if you have like a certain thing that you're wanting to buy, but you have 3 different vendors that you're going to request a quote from for that, you can set those vendors up within the purchasing app, create your quote. Again, they have a whole database of all the same products you would see on CDW or Paragon or wherever you purchase things from. And you can choose the product that you're looking to purchase and click a button and send that quote to all 3 vendors at the same time. And then they can respond back through the app if they want to. And you can kind of manage that whole process within this. So definitely something that they're developing, and it can be helpful, especially for those of you who do a lot of purchasing. There is a mobile app for Spiceworks, for those of you who might be wondering about that. They do have apps for both iOS and Android, for both tablets and phone devices. And these are really cool. I use it on my phone. If you're away from your desk or in another building or something, if you have a large campus, it can be really handy to be able to pull up. And you can pull up lots of information about your devices. The majority of the information that you can pull up in the app itself. It's not everything, but it's close. And you can pull up information about your users if you have it integrated with Active Directory. You can pull up all your tickets, close tickets, add notes to them, that sort of thing. So it's definitely a really cool feature. That's another one that users have requested that they have.
Does that require you to be on the inside of your network, on the intranet, or can you do that from anywhere?
You can do it both ways. It's up to you. So you have to have access to you have to allow that, allow your phone to be able to get to the Spiceworks server somehow.
Okay.
So if you want to do it from outside your network, then you would have to allow that through your firewall to have access to that port. Now you still have to log in as a Spiceworks user. So if you provide that port, for example, if I gave you the address to mine, you could pull it up in a web browser from anywhere in the world, obviously, and see the login screen for my Spiceworks install. But you still have to have a username and password to log in. But you could do it within your network too. If you're connected to Wi-Fi, you could just connect directly to the Spiceworks without having to allow that through your firewall, if that's a concern. So, good question. I've got all kinds of giveaways here. So, I don't think there's anything else I was going to say about the apps. Probably not. But they're definitely there. Oh, I know what I was going to say. They are always requesting feedback from users on things that they would like to have added into the application. And that was another one of the things that had been highly requested, and they finally got around to adding that in. So, and they do prioritize those projects based on the level of interest within the community. So, it's a real quick download. It'll install in like 5 minutes. You can throw it on a workstation. If you're not sure if you really want to dive in head first with Spiceworks, you can throw it on a workstation first. I do recommend you have it on a server long term. So you would want to move that, even just for performance, you want to move that over to a server at some point. But the move is easy to do. You can it's just a matter of copying a couple folders and installing it on a server and copying those over, and that's all there is to it. And there's walkthroughs online for how to do that. Spiceworks does provide free support. So they're available for you to help you get set up, customize your environment, whatever you're doing, they can help you out with that. And there's plenty of support in the community as well. Lots of people out there willing to help you. A couple things I want to point out within the community. There are these Spicecore groups. Some of you that were here early on might have heard me talking with someone else about the Spicecore group. They have these Spicecores all over the country, all over the world actually. And the closest ones to us, I think, are in Fort Wayne and Dayton. There's a group down in Columbus as well. Basically, these are just local groups of IT people, kind of like what we're doing here with LRITA. They get together on a regular basis to talk about IT topics, Spiceworks, talk shop. Sometimes there's demos involved. Certain products, a vendor will come in sometimes if they set that up. It's just a good way to network with local IT folks and kind of get out in the community a little bit. So I attend the one in Fort Wayne, so I've been over there several times, and it's a good group. And then they also have a conference called Spice World once a year down in Austin, Texas, which is, from what I've heard, a very cool conference. I'm actually signed up to go to it this year. I'm hoping that works out. So that's something you can consider as well. And then they have Spiceworks University, which is basically training, instructor-led training, to show you how to set up Spiceworks and how to use, a lot more in depth than what I'm doing here today, how to use some of these functions and features. And you can go through those classes.
There's actually one in Columbus in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he's going to be attending that, right? He said, yeah. So there's, for some of the more advanced features, I don't think that's an intro class, I think there's some of the more advanced features. Yeah, those are the ones that are in person are actually paid, so it would be a paid thing, I believe, right?
Yeah. It's like $99.
Yeah, but you can get it online for free. So for those of you who are looking for something, more on the cheap side like that. And then, like I mentioned, they're always asking for feedback. These are some of the things that users have voted on to get added into the application. The knowledge base, the ability to merge tickets. I didn't mention that when we were in the help desk. You have times when you have the internet's down, so you get 10 tickets about the internet being down. Everybody's saying I need to submit a ticket. Well, you can click all those and merge them all together into one ticket with the click of a button, basically. So it's a really cool feature that they added in maybe a year and a half ago or so. They have a network map feature, so you can click on it, it'll show you a visual network map of your whole network, which can be handy. So a lot of different features that have been requested over time. And then the last thing is, some of you might be wondering, what's the catch here? This seems a little too good to be true. It's a very cool app, but can it really be free? And if it is, what's the catch? And I just wanted to point out that there is no catch to it. It really is a great app. It's ad supported, of course. When you've got 2.5 million IT folks together in one place, you're going to have people like Microsoft and HP and all the major vendors want to have access to those people. So they provide ad support within the app and in other ways as well through some of their plugins. And that's how it's supported. So it's not intrusive. It's not like some of these apps that you download and it's a free app, but it's just there's ads all over the place and it's kind of junky in the way it works and that kind of thing. Spiceworks isn't like that. It really is a great app that you will find valuable. So, and the vendors actually have a lot of vendors, all the majors and a lot of the minor ones even have people that are assigned, probably within their social networking departments, but are assigned to Spiceworks to be there to monitor posts within the community about their products and about their services. And if you post a comment or something, they'll actually come on there and help you out with that if you need help. I've seen that happen where people have had a particular gripe with the product, and all of a sudden here comes a Microsoft person or whoever, and they're willing to jump in there and help you out with that. So it's kind of a cool way to get in touch with some of those folks. So, what am I doing here? Looks like I have about 6 minutes or so. So 30 minutes. So before I get into, I have a little bit of a demo here that I want to show you guys a few things within the app, just to give you a feel for what it looks like. Before I get into that, is there any more questions?
When you load it on a local computer,
Yeah.
do you have to sign in as administrator, or can you be a local user?
When you load it, it will require, admin privileges on the computer to install it.
Right?
But once you get it installed, there's as you install it, you create the user to log into Spiceworks. It has its own username and password, set up within the app. So it's not connected to your Windows username and password.
Okay.
It's just within its little database. It has, you set it to whatever you want it to be, username and password. Usually it's your email address and then whatever password you set. So Does that answer your question?
Right, and then would that cause any limitations to when you do like a network inventory?
SNMP is what it's gonna be your big holdup, okay? A lot of them are set to public and private automatically, but you really don't want that. So you wanna look into that. That's gonna give you all the information, the software that's installed, and the devices.
Yeah.
So there's a little more to it than just proof, but
Yeah, when you set up your network scan, when you put in the IP addresses you wanted to scan and stuff, it has a place in there for you to put in the usernames and passwords that you want to be able to use with any of those devices. So you'll need to, if you're on a domain, you want to put in a domain username and password for a domain admin to be able to scan all your servers and that kind of stuff. If you have like printers that have, logins on a web page, you want to put in the logins for those, or network devices that have logins, that kind of thing. It'll let you know if it scans and finds those devices but can't log in. You'll have alerts that tell you need to put in credentials for this to be able for us to log in and scan it, that sort of thing. So, good question.
It's probably worth noting if you're actually having users use it, you can integrate it back to the directory if you have AD, and that way people can put tickets in that way.
Yep, absolutely. So a couple things, we've got just a couple minutes here that I wanted to kind of just give you a feel for what the app looks like when you're in it. This is just a demo database that I installed in my laptop here. But I'm looking at my dashboard, and I haven't done a scan yet, so some of these don't have data filled in on them yet. But what you would some of the plugins that you would see on your dashboard here would be like a timeline. You can see all the activity that's happening within the app at any given time on all kinds of different things. Down here. Well, yesterday it had patches in here. I don't know why they disappeared, but it had all kinds of patches for major software applications, for Microsoft applications, that sort of thing that it was displaying here that had just recently come out to keep you up to date, which included third-party stuff like Adobe and Java and that kind of stuff. The alerts section, I've got an alert here for, looks like for 2010 Visio. It's telling me I'm not compliant, so I'm going to click on that and take a look at what that's talking about. So basically you can see here, it's telling me I've got 2 volume license, this section in the middle here, I've got 2 volume license keys that I've set up. And I've told Spiceworks I have 25 licenses for the one, 10 licenses for the other. But Spiceworks has identified that I have actually 29 installs with that volume license key being used. So it's telling me, hey, you're out of compliance. If you have volume license keys and you need to keep track of that kind of thing, that can be a valuable tool to help you manage that. One of the other things I wanted to show you under devices here, something that I have personally found useful is there's something they have called the complete profile, which there's a couple times that I've needed a particular piece of information about a device that I didn't have, and it didn't have it on the on like the dashboard for that device on here. Let me see which one I have here. Let me get this jigged up just for an example. So when you pull up a device, this is kind of like the information that you can see about particular devices, and some have more information than others. But it has, this is a Dell, so it has a service tag. So it pulls the service tag in here. If I click on this, it would actually take me out to the support.dell.com and log in with that service tag. So that's really handy. And you can see the MAC address, the IP address up here. If you go to the configuration section, you can see the last person that logged into it here, into this machine. See information about the operating system, antivirus, what's going on with that. Here's your disks, how much free space you have, all that kind of stuff. As you can see, it can be a very valuable tool.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
2 things that I've always missed on these, I don't know where they are. Like they have mapped drives.
I think it has Mac drives.
I see network shares there. Is that what they're talking about? And then the other thing is what printers are connected to that. That's the other one. Is it able to see what are they printing to?
Yeah. You know what? That complete profile that I was talking about probably has that. I'm going to click on that here and show you what that looks like. I think printers might have been one of the things that I was looking for too, that I couldn't find.
It does do printers.
Yeah. Does it? Okay. There you go, right there. There's printers right there, so you can see what printers are connected to that device. I mean, this is basically like, here's a dump of all the information we could collect from this device and everything that's possibly out there, basically. even down to here's all 4 of your memory slots, or 5 in this case of your memory slots, and how much memory is in each one, and what's going on with that. So you don't have to like try to find some other tool to find that without opening the case or whatever. You know, here's the driver that you're using for this video controller, so you don't have to go look that up. You know, you can find it right in Spiceworks. I mean, you know, I could go on and on for hours about the level of information that it pulls in here and the different ways that you can use it. I mean, it's very valuable with that. So, show you real quick the reports section. I think someone mentioned that earlier. That is a really cool section as well. They've got a lot of built-in reports. In addition, you can create your custom reports. You can use SQL-based queries if you want. So you can create more detailed custom reports using any data that's collected within the app.
Then you can download reports from the community too, right?
You can, yep. There's people that have created reports to do a specific thing. So if you're looking for something you don't want to try to create on your own, I actually did that the other day for something. So this report, someone had created this to track unwanted software. So they programmed it to look for these particular type software programs and show it what computers have these programs installed on them. So you can run this report and instantly see, I've got the Ask toolbar on all these computers. I need to go out and uninstall that. And then the next time it scans and you run this report again, it won't have that. The report will be clean for Ask toolbar if you uninstall all those. So that's very cool. And then up here at the top, you can actually click right here and go to another report. I think I had another one. I'm going to show you computers without antivirus. So here, this shows you all the computers you have that don't have an antivirus program installed. However, it detects that. So again, a lot of time savings that it has there for you not having to find another way to figure out this kind of information. I mean, there's the amount of combinations of things you can do with Spiceworks is pretty amazing. So I know we're about a minute or so ahead of time here, but that's pretty much all I had for the presentation, unless anyone has any other questions.
You said you could install and uninstall software for any workstations use Spiceworks.
You can stop running processes that might have been away. You can't uninstall software or install software through Spiceworks on your workstations. Yeah, it doesn't do any kind of deployment or anything like that. Yeah, it's just a detection or a reporting tool basically. So.
And do you have to install anything extra on the workstations?
No, there's no agent. It's completely agentless. So you just install it on a server and let it go, and it'll scan everything. And that's all there is to it.
However, if you have a laptop that's not on your main only network, you can get an agent. So it is possible to manage your remote workstation.
Yeah, we have a couple of laptops that we have that are not in the office almost ever. And so we put an agent on them so when they're out, anytime they connect to the internet, it will send back to it's like a remote send home information about the laptop, what's going on, so I can keep track of, if the antivirus is staying up to date, that kind of thing. So. Good point. All right, guys. Thanks. Feel free to stop up here if you have any additional questions. I've got business cards here, or I've got some little cards here about Spiceworks. Anybody who wants one to take with you, they're here.